I believe that before watching this video, you have attempted self-discipline countless times, only to fail. There are many online videos about self-discipline with millions of views, but after watching them, I suspect they only provide self-comfort without any real effect. Today, I plan to share with you the self-discipline golden formula that I have researched for 13 years for free. With this formula, I have accomplished the following through persevering in my writing training of memorizing and writing 5 sentences every day for 5 years, and writing 3,000-word articles every week until I became a best-selling author. I have also been persistently running 5 to 10 kilometers every day for 2 years now, totaling around 3,200 kilometers. How did I go from someone who failed at self-discipline to being able to persist in these feats for so long? It was mainly due to this self-discipline golden formula. I have been reluctant to reveal it until now. Let me introduce the steps in this formula to you. The first step is to always only focus on one small issue or an extremely tiny goal. The fundamental reason we fail at self-discipline and execution is that when we try to do anything, our mind often thinks about a huge target or desire. This is actually contrary to the self-discipline approach, which is to pay attention to a very tiny problem area. The second step is to powerfully execute and overcome difficulties with your willpower to solve this issue. You must focus on one thing in this process of strong execution. Do not let your emotions defeat you. Why do we fail endlessly at self-discipline? It is because our desires and emotions have exclusivity. For example, now as I record this video, my brain keeps wanting my hands to pick up my phone, like an addiction, constantly wanting to check the content in the phone, browse military news, play a game, etc. Our multitude of tiny desires and temptations easily defeat our major goals and desires. Plus, when we think of those major desires and big goals, we immediately feel a sense of disconnect from reality. For example, many of my students say they must get into Tsinghua or Peking University, otherwise they will not fulfill their dreams. But when they try to study, they feel like a pig facing every problem, feeling vastly inadequate. Often, major desires require perseverance through adversity before one can get close to achieving them. So when we think of those big desires, we immediately feel the gap from reality, resulting in mental exhaustion. Also, because the feedback cycle is too long, we cannot defeat those small temptations and enticements. The small pleasures are far more gratifying than doing the right thing. So in this powerful execution phase, you must remember to overcome your feelings of pleasure and attraction to things you like. Exercise restraint. The third phase of the golden formula is to always close the loop. What does this mean? It means that for the small issue I have identified, I must complete it. For the small goal I have set, I must achieve it. Let me give a simple example. This morning, I wanted to make a video about the self-discipline golden formula. If I had thought about whether people will watch this video, whether this content on self-discipline will be viral, how I should make the video, etc., I would have felt like staying in bed and continuing to browse news. Why? Because thinking about the huge, far-reaching matters tires me out. I would have thought I need to record for 4 hours, constantly edit, revise sentences. I would not have wanted to do it. So my golden formula is very simple. I do not think about the big picture. I just focused on getting out of bed, strongly executing the action of wearing slippers. After succeeding in that closed loop, I only focused on the small point of sitting in front of the computer. After that, I only focused on the topic of this video, which is the self-discipline golden formula. Since I'm very familiar with this after using it for years, it was smooth sailing. Then I focused on how to make the opening engaging so people want to watch. I decided to just be honest and share my inner thoughts, that I don't want you to see this video, but I also want the traffic, and I want this video to become a paid course. So I just speak my mind. You see, a difficult 4-hour video creation process became manageable by just focusing on small points, powerfully executing, and willing myself through difficulties. After the third step, the fourth step in this formula is to utilize ways to increase self-efficacy. What are these? Let me give a simple example related to writing or making videos. You won't always be able to think of articulate sentences effortlessly to make your video or writing look and sound smooth. So I use tricks to increase self-efficacy. When I can't think of a video framework, I refer to one from a viral video. When I can't write good sentences, I churn out a bunch of garbage first, then pick out the few good ones from the rubbish. If we want to be self-disciplined long-term, we must discover ways to increase self-efficacy. Why is increasing self-efficacy so important? It is because we care about being able to continually execute later on. When doing something for a long time, we will inevitably feel tired, in pain, suffering. But if we have many tricks to increase self-efficacy, during the process we will feel we are stronger than others. This sense of superiority from the comparison can motivate us to persist even when it is tiring. Let me give an example. When my student is memorizing the word question, he will repeatedly chant question, question. But after a while he forgets again. If he knew some memorization techniques, like associating it with something using his imagination to remember it more solidly and quickly. Also, when I am memorizing vocabulary, if I think of memorizing 50 words in one go, I feel overwhelmed. So I break it down into 10 small groups of 5 words. I memorize each small group of 5, then go through recalling the spelling, meaning, reading out loud, etc. Because the goal is so small, I get positive feedback that I am strong and smart, that I memorize faster, stronger and more solidly than others. I live in this narcissistic feeling every day that I am the best in the world at memorizing vocabulary. You have to learn to flatter yourself, so that you feel amazing at what you are doing. This allows you to persist long-term even when it is difficult and tiring. Some say don't compare with others, but I say do compare with others. Find ways to increase your self-efficacy, raise yourself above others in your mind, and feel you are quite impressive. How else can you persist at something so arduous and long-term? You have to find that sense of superiority. You must learn to be joyful in hardship. The next step after self-discipline is, after comparing favorably with others, do not stop praising your own achievements. For example, I praise myself for being a best-selling author now. Many people probably hate me and want to scold me. Let them scold, I will still praise my achievements. Why? Because people are inherently very insecure and feel inadequate. Constantly and blindly praising yourself, after a while your subconscious will recognize you are impressive. Feel like a genius, one in a million, a great person when you wake up every morning. How nice is that compared to crawling out of bed feeling like a piece of sh*t? People are a Matthew effect. The more you flatter yourself, the better you become. The more you disparage yourself, the more useless you become. It is really so. So parents, never disparage your child every day. Find ways to praise him, her, or teach them to praise themselves. As long as you follow the steps A, B, C, D, E in my formula, and arrive at the 6th step, your major goal will usually be achieved. The 6th step is to reward yourself, e.g., after memorizing 50 or 100 vocabulary words, I reward myself. Why reward yourself? It is so that each time after I break down a difficult major goal into small goals, then use this formula to achieve them, rewarding myself lets me feel hopeful about continuing this matter tomorrow. After rewarding myself with a game, for example, I feel not bad about it. This is the essence of the self-discipline golden formula, an endless loop that makes your emotional experience relatively pleasant, on top of accomplishing the task. I said earlier the biggest enemy of self-discipline is emotion, so we must handle our emotions in 2 aspects. One is to overcome the pleasurable and distracting things with willpower. The other is to cater to human nature in the process of doing things, to let you feel you are quite impressive, smart, and talented. Why is the golden formula effective? Firstly, you must understand people have limited abilities, a short working memory, and a fragile mind. A little negative suppression can make them give up on something. So this formula works because each time we only focus on a small issue, and feel each time that we succeeded, that we are great. In this process, we find the areas we are superior to others and self-validate. Constantly praising ourselves allows the subconscious to recognize we are impressive. The key points for why those who fail endlessly at self-discipline are: their cycle is like this, they cannot do those difficult but right things. When trying to do. After self-disciplining for so many years, I feel the difficulty of self-discipline is not in persevering with positive feedback, but in persisting without positive feedback where the pain far outweighs the joy, yet still enduring to the end. When making videos, if 10 videos fail to become viral and only get a tiny number of views, but suddenly the 11th video goes viral, for those 10 videos I would have written scripts for 4 hours each, constantly revising, like altering one sentence 10 times, yet the video doesn't go viral. I would feel like I painstakingly wrote for 4 hours and revised 10 times, but only got 500 views. It's like raising a daughter for over 10 years only for her to fall for some rascal on the street. I would feel utterly devastated, panicked and helpless, angry yet resigned. At times like this I really want to give up. In all these years, the most frequent beating I've endured is persisting in something without rewards. I feel having no positive feedback isn't the most painful thing is persisting, gritting your teeth when you cannot see any hope. Many people say when persisting in something, you need a clear big goal. I do have one, but I find however much I reach for my clear big goal, it remains elusively out of grasp. My previous goal was to become a best-selling author. I strived for 5 years but there was no news. Then one day, someone finally recognized my talent, but it could well have been that I would never achieve this goal in my lifetime. When you cannot see any hope at all, how do you keep persisting? I'll explain later. You'll find that often when you want to achieve major success, like becoming the next Bill Gates or an impressive public figure, you will enter a long period without positive feedback and with unclear outcomes, like looking through a blurry, foggy window. What is most people's cycle? They feel pain when trying to do the right thing, then when in pain they think of pleasurable distractions, giving in to small desires for immediate gratification and happiness. Later they feel guilty and ashamed, but after a while, they enter the same cycle again. As I've said before, lofty ambitions are where failures ultimately take refuge. Because framing things in lofty ambitions makes one feel driven, but when it comes time to act, they cannot follow through. The key reason most people cannot persist long-term in self-discipline is that they equate persistence in self-discipline with success. If you truly want to turn your life around, I suggest letting go of this belief. How did I manage to keep persevering through adversity in business and life these past decades? I never cared about whether persistence necessarily leads to success. I focused on where persisting brought me incremental progress and capability improvements. For instance, I broke through a barrier, which is the greatest benefit of self-discipline. You overcome barriers you could not instinctively on your own. This then unlocks opportunities. For example, I used to have social anxiety. If I saw a beautiful woman posing in nice clothes in a shop, I would stare fixedly, which I guess is not appropriate, but I would stare brazenly. The woman would say, "What are you looking at?" and I'd say, "You're beautiful, can't I admire for a bit longer?" In the past I wouldn't have dared to do this. But thanks to my thick skin and shamelessness in speaking my true thoughts, that she looks good and I want to appreciate her beauty longer, the girl actually came to chat with me, finding me quite interesting, if a bit ugly. After breaking through this barrier, I realized, wow, life has so many more possibilities that I was missing out on. This is why I emphasize mental strength. Only people with strong minds can do shameless things to unlock experiences and opportunities they could never access before. But most of us with weak minds shrink inside our comfort zones, and our life possibilities stay circling inside that comfort zone. Such people can never succeed, absolutely not. Your success comes from yourself, from gritting your teeth to transcend your comfort zone. Like an egg breaking out from within is life, breaking in from the outside is food. I believe in the 80-20 rule. 80% of wealth lies in 20% of people's hands. So the road to success is not crowded, because most people remain in their comfort zone, while the impressive people annoy themselves to break out of the egg-like comfort zone. I believe only those who persist in discomfort to shatter barriers and unlock opportunities can become life's winners. So, when promoting myself, my conclusion is persist in effort, welcome challenges, constantly improve, and realize your ideals by annoying yourself to do things your emotions and instincts tell you that you cannot. Then your ideals will come closer and closer to you.